Hello, from London's St. Pancras International Train Station. We are en route to Paris. By the way, we are late and we have missed our train, but fortunately there is a train every hour, so we are able to get on the next one. We really underestimated the border crossing ordeal here at the station. Well, we are on the way and very excited to visit the City of Light, and the train ride is quite nice. It feels shorter than it actually is. Having wine certainly helps. We go underwater for about 20 minutes and then we are in France. 2.5 hours later, we are in Paris. Yep, the site of Basilique du Sacré-Cœur in Montmartre tells us we are at the right place. Let's enjoy our next 3 days here in Paris. We are in Paris. We have arrived here at Gare du Nord, or the North Station. It may not look like it, but it is Europe's busiest train station and the busiest in the world outside of Japan. Here we are passing by the Place de la République. Isn't Paris an amazing city? Wait a minute, I think we're about to hit this cyclist in front of us. That was kind of scary, but where did this guy get his license? I'm serious. Yep, we are getting close. We have arrived at our temporary home. Here's the view from our 7th floor apartment here in Le Marais. My mom's a longtime friend and accomplished writer, Madame Machine, has come to visit, and she will be our guide tonight. And since she has lived here for so many years, she knows every nook and cranny of this city. We decide to go for a walk around our neighborhood, Le Marais. They have these small markets pretty much at every block. This plug-in electric vehicle belongs to a car-sharing service they have here called Autolib. Very, very cool. Man, Paris is great, isn't it? For example, you can see a fountain, like this one, here, where you least expect it. This is just a regular street. We are now approaching Place de Vosges, the oldest planned square in the city, and it is pretty much the prototype for all these kind of residential squares that are all over Europe. Hi everybody, we have finally arrived in Paris, and I'm here standing at Place de Vosges. It was originally named Palais-Royal by King Henry IV in the early 1600s. Notice how all the facades have the same design. That was one of the architectural innovations of this square. Many prominent historical figures have established residence at Place de Vosges over the years, most notably writer Victor Hugo, famous for Les Misérables and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And this used to be his apartment. We continue exploring Le Marais, a most historic and aristocratic district. Here we encounter a gas station. Yeah, that is the whole thing. They don't really waste space here with something as mundane as a gas station. As night falls, it is time to eat. We are at Brésil-Bourg-Frangé, here in Paris, right next to the Place de la Bastille. We have some Beaujolais wine, of course, and some bread to get started. I decide to be adventurous and order the foie gras. I have never had it before. Madame Machine orders the oysters, very famous at this place. It is really quite a lovely dining room with this lively cupola, very elegant. Here's the gratin dauphinois and the sauté beef and my southwestern duck with spring onion hash brown and roasted tomato. So good. And for dessert, well, I have the crème brûlée. What else? It looks like we are closing down the place, so let's go, let's get out of here. I leave you with this view of Place de la Bastille with the new opera house in the background. Good night. Bonjour from Paris. I am here in front of the Palais Garnier, the old opera house. And here we begin our first full day at the City of Light. Yes, we are going to explore this magnificent building in a few. But first, we have an amazing breakfast of café au lait and croissant at this lovely place around the corner called Le Grand Café Capucines. I think it may be a little late for breakfast or early for lunch because the whole place is pretty much deserted. And here we are in front of the Palais Garnier once again. Check out this guy in the orange sweater. There seems to be something wrong with him. He seems to be talking to himself all the time, and it's kind of creepy, but everybody's ignoring him, and maybe we should too. Okay, let's go inside. We have booked the 11 a.m. English tour. Look at the exquisite details on the lamps and the overall architecture. It is quite wonderful. Here's a statue of architect Charles Garnier, the man responsible for all this beauty. Okay, let's go inside. We begin the tour by this sculpture of Pythia, which represents the patron of artists. Right here, under the grand staircase. Pythia, or the Oracle of Delphi, is also a mythological character and god Apollo's priestess. In the late 1800s, those balconies on top would have been full of people, the general public, who would have come through the main door. We, however, are VIPs coming through the side. This is the grand staircase, where we would join the communards who would come through the main entrance behind us. Check out the roof, painted by Isidore Pils, depicting Greek mythological scenes. It is called the Gods of Olympus. Okay, it seems like it is our time to go up the stairs. Here we get a peek at the magnificent 5-level auditorium from one of the balconies. And here we get a slightly better view and see the stage, which at the time was one of the largest in the world, and the 7-ton chandelier designed by Garnier himself, and the ceiling painted by Chagall in 1964. It is installed on a removable frame under the original painting. The auditorium is an Italian-styled horseshoe, although some might call it French too because of the decoration. We also visit the Library Museum, where they hold miniature replicas of the different stage sets. This area was originally intended to be the Emperor's private foyer. Going back the other way, here we have a small-scale replica of the original auditorium ceiling. There's also paintings depicting the history of ballet and models of the building. This room, with the infinity mirrors and the bats on the roof, is called the Salon of the Moon. Notice the slightly less gold and more silver motif. Okay, I am officially impressed. Take a look at this room. This is the grand foyer. Everything in this room utters opulence, extravagance. It was, in fact, inspired by the Hall of Mirrors in the Versailles Palace.
Natural light.
We go out to the front balcony to get some fresh air and admire the view. We are treated to this great view of the Place de l'Opéra. From here, I'm going to zoom in through Avenue de l'Opéra into Hôtel du Louvre. To the right, Café de la Paix, a famous and fashionable cafe right here in front of the opera. We are back in the grand foyer, admiring the magnificently decorated ceiling, painted by Paul-Jacques Aimé Baudry. This place is so grand that whatever pictures I can show you don't really do it justice. Here we go into the Salon of the Sun. which has these mosaics on the floor and the infinity mirrors, just like the Salon of the Moon, but with a gold motif. And then this room. Everywhere you look, there is luxury and sumptuousness. This area features Italian mosaics, works of art by Italian artisans, hired by Garnier himself. Here we are back by the grand staircase, this time admiring the view from one of the second-floor balconies. Next, we walk into this unfinished area, which was supposed to be Napoleon III's personal entrance. But when he fell from power, the Third Republic did not allow for the area to be finished. Now let's go back into the auditorium one more time. What a magnificent place this is. Here we see the orchestra pit as well, and the horseshoe-shaped auditorium.
But we don't sell the 2013 because of course there are several places.
Each color in the Chagall painting pays tribute to a group of composers and their work. All the greats are represented here: Mozart, Berlioz, Debussy, Ravel, Tchaikovsky, Beethoven. I'm just gonna pretend I'm here to see an opera. Look at the exquisite decorations on this balcony and, well, everywhere else. We are back by the grand staircase, taking one last look, saying goodbye to the great Palais Garnier. Okay, it is time to continue exploring Paris. We go around the building with this requisite human statue here. It's a touristy place after all. And this guy is still talking to himself. He did take off the sweater though. I wonder what's wrong with him, but I guess we'll never find out. Let's visit Galeries Lafayette, which is the great department store here in Paris. Not because we want to go shopping or anything like that, but because we actually want to see the building and see the atrium inside with this glass dome and the balconies all around. This is one of the great early department stores, originally founded in 1896 and finished by 1912. From the roof, we get a pretty commanding view of the city, the Eiffel Tower as the centerpiece. Notice how almost all the buildings are at the same height. And here we see the back of the opera. Also, the golden dome of Les Invalides. Well, it has started to rain, so let's go underground. First into Le RER and then Le Métro. They have these fruit stands in the metro as well, pretty cool. We take the underground and get off by the Champs-Élysées. It is our intention to visit l'Arc de Triomphe at the western end of the Champs-Élysées. Emperor Napoleon commissioned it in 1806, and it sits in the middle of Place Charles de Gaulle, which is a traffic circle where 12 avenues converge in the shape of a star. It is nearly impossible to cross the traffic circle. Luckily, they have this underground tunnel. The views from the roof, 50 meters above the street level, are spectacular. Here we are, looking towards Montmartre and the iconic Sacré-Cœur Basilica. And here's Notre Dame and the glass vault of the Grand Palais to the right, and the Louvre Museum in front of us, with the Place de la Concorde obelisk, and below us, the Champs-Élysées. We are at the top of the Arc de Triomphe, and back there, what you can see is the Champs-Élysées. Paris, great avenue, and behind it you probably can't see it, but there's the Louvre Museum, and back there, of course, the Lady of Paris, La Tour Eiffel Tower. Yes, that's a great view of the tower, and you can kind of see Les Invalides too. And now we are looking towards La Défense, the business district. At the center, the Grand Arch, completed in 1989 as the 20th century version of l'Arc de Triomphe. We see more rain in the distance, so we might want to go back down. But before we do, let's zoom in one more time on the Sacré-Cœur and on the Champs-Élysées, the Place de la Concorde and the Louvre. And one last look at our favorite tower in Paris. We are back at the ground level, walking towards the tomb of the unknown soldier from World War I, where an eternal flame has been burning since 1920. We have lunch at the nearby Pizza Vesuvio and take a quick stroll down the Champs-Élysées, passing by the famous Lido Cabaret. We wish we could stay here longer, maybe walk the whole thing all the way to the Place de la Concorde, but we want to take a break, we're tired, so we go back down to the metro. We're going back to our apartment in Les Marais. We walk along the long and sometimes not so attractive corridors. I think we are beginning to get the hang of the public transportation system here. At this time of the day, it is pretty busy. It must be rush hour. We emerge by our neighborhood on the Boulevard des Filles du Calvaire, and here we encounter the Cirque d'Hiver, the Winter Circus, opened in 1852. Apparently, the structure is still used for exhibitions and shows, and the circus. We really like this neighborhood, by the way. It isn't all that touristy, and that's actually a good thing. We even have a supermarket very nearby. We go back out, taking an Uber this time, also an outstanding service here in Paris. We get off near Ile de la Cité. This is kilometer 0 of the French highways and considered the official center of Paris, right here in front of Notre Dame. This is another one of those iconic places in the French capital, the great Gothic cathedral. And it took a long time to construct, over 180 years in total from 1163 to 1345. It is a magnificent building. We pass by Place Saint-Michel, which we will visit some other time. And here we are by the Square du Vert-Galant, one of the most romantic places here in Paris, located at the western end of Ile de la Cité. It is a popular place for picnics, I hear. Here we are looking back towards Pont Neuf and ahead towards Pont des Arts as the sun sets. We enjoy the beautiful sunset from Square du Vert-Galant. We look back once again towards Pont Neuf. And even though this is not Pont des Arts, lovers and sweethearts have the tradition of placing padlocks wherever they can as a symbol of their everlasting love. Yes, very romantic. Just like this city. Walking along the closed bouquiniste boxes and encounter the Institut de France, this building which houses 5 French intellectual academies. By the way, this is a historic moment. Just a couple of weeks after this video was shot, the government removed all these locks from Pont des Arts, apparently to preserve the structural integrity of the bridge, which had become too heavy. We passed by the Louvre on our way to get another Uber home. Good morning from our Airbnb apartment in Paris. Yep, this is the whole thing. Only 2 people fitting here. Here we see the train stations Gare de l'Est and Gare du Nord. You know, I was going to cut some of this out, but Paris is such a beautiful city. I'm gonna leave most of it in. We continue up the steep, narrow streets of Montmartre, and it looks like this is as high as we can go by car. And here we are. Greetings once again from Paris. I'm standing here in front of the Basilica of Sacré-Cœur, and we are on top of the hill called Montmartre here in Paris. Right here you can see the view of Paris is spectacular, even though this is sunny, the day is a little hazy. We were here back in 2006, and I remember vividly walking down that street down there with all the touristy shops. This Romano-Byzantine church is actually not that old. Construction began in 1875 and it was finished just before World War I. Let's take in the view one more time as we zoom in on the Centre Pompidou, the Museum of Modern Art. Let's go back in time to 2006, when we were actually able to climb the stairs to the top of the cupola. We go up the steep stairs, and the views, even halfway to the top, are pretty good.
I'm about to start crying.
Yep, these stairs are definitely not OSHA approved, but the climb is definitely worth it. We get spectacular, commanding views of the city from the top. Down and down we go. Back in 2015, let's explore the streets of Montmartre a little bit, and normally this is a very touristy area, but we're early, it's about 9 a.m. Let's take advantage of that. Montmartre, or Mount of Martyrs, has been a place of worship since before the Roman Empire. We're walking towards Place de Tertre, a very touristy square where there are all these artists drawing portraits and painting cityscapes, and some of them are extremely talented. It is a reminder of a time at the beginning of the 20th century when this area was the epicenter of the modern art movement. One can almost imagine a penniless Picasso walking around these streets, drawing inspiration from all these surroundings. Okay, enough of that. Let's continue. There's so much more to see in this area. Macaroons. Yum. Check out the golden cupola of Les Invalides from here. I'm kind of obsessed with that building. This is the famous Moulin de la Galette. Dating back to the 17th century, the windmill and the whole area has been painted by the likes of Renoir, Picasso, Van Gogh, Toulouse-Lautrec, and many others. We continue going, fortunately downhill most of the time, wandering around this pretty neighborhood. And look, Les Invalides again! Let's take a break for some coffee.
Pain au chocolat.
If you saw the French movie Amélie, this will look very familiar to you. This is where she used to live and shop. The entrance to her apartment is just around the corner. Let's go down these stairs. Here we encounter the Wall of Love, in which the phrase "I love you" is spelled in 250 languages. While we are on the subject of love, a little further down we encounter Place Pigalle. This area is full of sex shops and theaters and adult shows, and as you can see, they even have this place called the Sexodrome. I wonder what that's all about. And many other places of questionable reputation, maybe. But it looks like it's all very touristy.
Very aptly named.
We continue walking along Boulevard de Clichy, walking along all these strip clubs and souvenir shops. They even have a museum of eroticism. And wherever they have sex, well, my place of birth, Cuba, has to be represented. And I am sure you've heard of this place.
We continue here in Paris, and right now I'm in front of the Moulin Rouge Cabaret, right here in Boulevard de Clichy, and we just came from Pigalle with all the sex shops and all this kind of sexy red light district neighborhood. And then we're gonna continue roaming the streets, walking around Paris. Right now, the Moulin Rouge. Look at everybody taking pictures, isn't that? And I'm here with my selfie stick making a fool out of myself. Talk to you guys later.
We go back down to Le Métro to continue exploring. We emerge by Place de la Bourse, right here, in front of Palais Garnier, formerly the stock exchange, before it became computerized. They seem to be having some kind of flea market today.
Liberté, égalité et fraternité.
We want to check out some of the famous covered passages of Paris, and here we are at one of them, Galerie Vivienne. This is one of many of these glass-covered passages built in Paris during the first half of the 19th century. They are, if you will, the original shopping mall. This one was built in 1823 in a neoclassical Pompeian style, and it's quite agreeable. We have a quick lunch and off we go. Here we are, by Place des Victoires, looking for Palais-Royal. Instead, we stumble upon the Banque de France, where the money is. This building with the metallic facade, I haven't really figured out what it is, so if you know, please comment below. We are entering the Palais-Royal through this side entrance. Here we encounter these curious fountains with these silver balls called the Fountains of Paul Bury, in this area here between the gardens and the palace, which is called Galerie d'Orléans. In the gardens, the older men are playing a traditional French game called pétanque, one of many popular ball games here in Europe. The gardens that once belonged to the king are now a public park. It is a very pleasant afternoon, and Parisians enjoy the park and the outdoors. Okay, it is time for us to continue exploring Paris. And as you can see, the men are still playing with their balls. We take an Uber along Rue de Rivoli. This right here is the luxurious Hotel Le Meurice, another place which was frequently visited by Salvador Dali and many other artists, located right here across the street from the Tuileries Gardens. We pass by Place de la Concorde and get a glimpse of La Madeleine Church. It was in a tunnel similar to this one that Princess Diana got killed back in 1997. We are on our way to the Trocadero Palace to get that quintessential view of the Eiffel Tower. Unfortunately, the whole place is under construction, so it is impossible to get that postcard-perfect view we got back in 2006. Actually, let's go back in time, one more time, since I already dusted off the old DV cassette.
Behind me, well, the most photographed icon this city has to offer, the Eiffel Tower.
I do understand if you feel compelled to come here at least once to see the tower, but beware. The place is totally overrun with tourists and hustlers trying to sell you souvenirs, and we saw some suspicious characters too, so Do keep your belongings safe. Looking back, as you can see, the balcony where you would stand to take the iconic picture is under construction. We still managed to walk around, enjoying the afternoon. Here we see a carousel, very typical of Paris. And here we have the Vedettes de Paris, one of the many companies that give boat tours on the river.
Hey everybody, I am here just underneath the Eiffel Tower, and I think it's a pretty good angle, don't you think? And I'm sure there's some weird cosmic energy coming down into me now. It seems this is kind of like, sort of like a pyramid. Oh, maybe not. All right, thank you. Talk to you guys later.
Okay, one last flashback, I promise. Back in 2006, we were able to take the ride to the top of the tower, and I thought I would show you some of those views. They have a wax statue of Eiffel and Edison at the top, in what seems to be a replica of Eiffel's office. The views from almost 300 meters above the street level are truly breathtaking. Okay, back to good old 2015, for good this time. We walk along the majestic, ornate buildings of Avenue Charles Fouquet in the 7th arrondissement. One quick fact about Paris, it is divided into boroughs or arrondissements, and they are numbered in a spiral pattern beginning at the center of the city, and we are in the 7th right now. We have a snack and some wine here at Le Soufrière, and we sit for a while and watch as life goes by in this marvelous city. And we are back underground. Back at our apartment, just for a quick break, and we go back out. And this time we got a very talkative Uber driver.
Opéra, Bastille.
Opéra, oui.
Dans le bateau, vous allez voir tout ça. Là, c'est le pont Neuf.
Pont Neuf. This is the one with all the locks.
Voilà, musée de la Monnaie.
We finally arrive at the Bateau Mouche terminal. This is the original and most popular of the river tours. In fact, Bateau Mouche has become kind of a generic term for all the river tours as well. It is incredibly crowded, mostly with Japanese tourists. For the last couple of days, the tide has been really high on the Seine, so the second floor is closed and we will not be able to go past the Pont des Arts because there is not enough clearance for the boat. Kind of a bummer, we will not be seeing Notre Dame from the water this time. We're going east, approaching Pont Alexandre III. Since it is almost the beginning of summer, they have all kinds of outdoors activities here by the river. Built at the end of the 19th century, Pont Alexandre III is considered by many the most beautiful bridge in Paris and an engineering marvel at the time. There are a handful of these floating structures that house restaurants, bars and ballrooms. This one is called Rosa Bonheur. And what a view! Here we see some youngsters enjoying the evening by the riverbank. And we get a glimpse of the Palais Bourbon, which houses the National Assembly. Check out all these luxurious riverfront apartments. And there's another boat that you can rent for special occasions. This one is called Concorde Atlantic. Going under the Passerelle de Solferino, we see the Musée d'Orsay. Formerly a train station, Gare d'Orsay, nowadays it houses a great collection of Impressionist paintings, along many other works of art. Here's another floating restaurant called Le Quai, and the Legion of Honor behind it. Take one last look at Musée d'Orsay. Look how high the water is. That is supposed to be a sidewalk down there. We are approaching the Institut de France and Pont des Arts. And here is where we're going to turn around because of the high tide. Look, the water goes all the way up to the benches. And here we are by the Louvre, looking under the Pont Royal. There's the Egyptian obelisk at Place de la Concorde, a gift from the Egyptian government in the 19th century. And now, for the piece de résistance, we're going to pass by the Eiffel Tower. Yes, the Tour Eiffel. All these Japanese tourists are going crazy with the selfie sticks. We are passing once again under the Alexander III Bridge. Yeah, everybody's going nuts. here they have a replica of the Statue of Liberty and near the Pont de Grenelle.
We are on the Bateau Mouche and this place is packed with people of all parts of the world. As you can see back there, the statue, the Eiffel Tower, sparkling.
Well, that's it. Good night. Bonjour from Paris. It is a brand new day here at Les Marais, and it is our last day in the city. Let's make it count. Let's continue exploring. As in many other cities, there are musicians in the underground, as we've seen. We emerge near Notre Dame by Place Saint-Michel. We are going to walk a little bit in the Quartier Latin, the Latin Quarter. Here we pass by Pont Saint-Michel. Man, I love this city. We walk along the bouquinistes setting up shop. Les Parisiens going out for their morning jog. Here we have a look at Rue du Chat qui Pêche, the street of the fishing cat, considered the narrowest street in Paris at just under 6 feet. A little further down, we encounter Shakespeare and Company, a historic English bookstore made famous by the movies Before Sunset and Midnight in Paris. We are now by Rue des Écoles, at the site of the famous Sorbonne University. Founded circa 1150, it has been recognized as one of the first universities. We continue, and here we have the Panthéon, which houses the remains of many important French people, and unfortunately it is undergoing some renovation, and it's going to be like that for a while. We see Saint-Étienne behind this classic Citroën. I love it. This is one of those iconic antique French cars. As I mentioned before, here's the Saint-Étienne Church, famous for the movie Midnight in Paris. On these stairs is where the protagonist sits down to wait for that antique Peugeot. Instead, we get this cranky street cleaning guy. Our next stop today is the Luxembourg Gardens. Here's the palace where the French Senate meets, the Luxembourg Palace. And here we have all les Parisiens enjoying their beautiful city. Okay, let's go. We see Notre Dame again as we cross the river. The tower to the right is Tour Saint-Jacques. It is what remains of the Church of Saint-Jacques de la Boucherie, which was demolished during the French Revolution. We are back in our neighborhood, and we're going to buy some chocolates at this boutique place called Jacques Genin. They craft some of the city's most exquisite chocolates. It comes at a price, but we thought we'd splurge and indulge and bring some home. Next, we are going to visit two museums here in Paris, namely l'Orangerie, which features Monet's famous water lilies, and then the Louvre. We get off by Place de la Concorde. And here we are, contemplating this masterpiece of Impressionism. The water lilies, or nymphéas in French. When I was doing my research, I read somewhere that photography was forbidden in here, and as much as I would have hated that, I think maybe it should be. The crowds of people taking selfies and pictures somewhat diminishes the experience. It prevents you from fully enjoying the magic of these works of art. This pair of oval rooms has been the home to these murals since 1927. The museum also has the Jean Walter and Paul Guillaume collection, with many other works by Renoir, Cézanne, Matisse, and many others. All the way to the neoclassical Picasso. From here, you can see Arc de la Défense and Arc de Triomphe and the Champs-Élysées and Place de la Concorde, all lined up. That's how perfect this city is. Turning around, we see Arc de Triomphe du Carrousel and the Louvre as we look across the Tuileries gardens. Look at all the people relaxing by the pond. The Tuileries Gardens was originally the site of a tile factory. Then, in 1564, Queen Catherine de' Medici happened to like the place and she built the Tuileries Palace here. Then, in 1664, King Louis XIV told his gardener to re-landscape the place. And voila! Parisians got this beautiful, relaxing park. Here we arrive by Arc de Triomphe du Carrousel. We see more people relaxing in these gardens by the Louvre.
They closed the side door now, so we're gonna try from the pyramid. See what happens. The carousel.
And here we are by the Louvre, but the museum is closed, even though it is supposed to be open until 9 p.m. on Wednesdays and Fridays. It turns out the museum is closing early today because of a little known to us but major holiday here called Victory Day. When I checked the website, I didn't see anything about that, but apparently it wasn't the fine print. A number of circumstances have led to this disappointing moment, this anticlimactic end to our vacation. First, our Airbnb host lost our prepaid tickets, so we couldn't go on Wednesday like we had planned originally. Then this holiday we didn't even know about. This really brings down our whole day. Well, what's left of the day. I was so looking forward to seeing the Louvre, at least the highlights. If there's a lesson to be learned here is to check the local holidays when traveling, and don't ever save the best for last. You never know what might happen. Well, we are tired, disappointed, sad. angry. But you know what? Chances are Paris and the Louvre are going to be here for a while, and I'm pretty sure we will return sometime. There is so much more to see in this city. We've barely scratched the surface. And just when we thought nothing else could go wrong, we have also found out that our flight on TAP Portugal has been cancelled due to a pilot strike, and the airline is not even answering the phone. You know what? We're just going to call it a night.
Nous vous informons que ce vol est entièrement non-fumeur. Merci de votre attention.
The good news, we managed to get on a British Airways flight.
We're now going to explain the emergency procedures on this British Airways aircraft.
We're going back to Miami with a short layover in London. Check out the view of Paris from the air. We are finally landing at London Heathrow Airport. They say everything happens for a reason, and guess what? I always wanted to fly on a 747 jumbo jet, and now I'm going to get my chance. We say goodbye to the coast of England. Let me tell you, for such a large plane is not all that uncomfortable, and the food is okay, and the crew, very pleasant. About 9 hours later, we are flying above the islands of the Bahamas. We see the eastern coast of South Florida in the distance. What you see down there is Fort Lauderdale Beach. We are almost home. And this is Port Everglades and the Fort Lauderdale Airport. A few minutes later, we are landing at MIA, Miami International Airport. We are back. in the 305. That's all, folks. Do remember to subscribe, and if you liked it, give me a thumbs up and share with your friends and comment below. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, so follow me there too if you will, and visit the blog at roadnomad.com. Join the mailing list. As always, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road. I'm riding with my RV. Wherever I want to be, because I'm free in my RV. Yeah, I'm riding with my RV, wherever I want to be, because I'm free in my